So what's up? Another segment of the Headspace, another conversation, another hot one. The South African hip hop all day, every day. It's your brother from the ancient mother, VJ, and I have a very, very special guest with me. And I'm gonna let my brother introduce himself. Pudwa.
Sure, bro. Ndingu Prince Masuku, ndingu Monti, and I'm basically a publicist. I do EPR for artists, and I've worked with Zakwen Tankeni, or Echo and Flame, or Black Malum Kulkati through P-Talk Amazing.
That's credentials, yo.
And mostly now the sevens are Flashy Kumkan. But mostly Flashy Kumkan. And there's a few other artists like Naleti Poltina, who's acted on Isibaya, The River, with The River, Nale, with The Queen, and the other Hola Pepa, in fact, Naleti Poltina. Yeah, but those are some of the artists I've worked with. There's more, obviously, but those are the ones I can remember.
It's a rich resume, my brother. And it's a resume fitting for a conversation that we are going to be going into, because our viewers are people who follow the South African hip-hop culture. Both artists and just lovers of the craft, the culture in all of its facets. And there's been an evolving dialogue of the direction that South African hip-hop is going into. Looking at the current rise of piano and the kind of shift that has happened with popularity in the context of South African hip-hop, there's a question that I felt needs to be asked very publicly so that we as hip-hop heads, so to speak, kind of engage on it. And that's the question of, how do you actually win South Africa over as a rapper? And when I say win, it can be a very subjective thing. So it's an open conversation. The definition of success, the definition of what victory, of what making it is to an artist can be a very subjective thing. Some artists just want to live and eat through their craft. They don't mind the fame. Some artists want it all. Some artists dream of becoming massive transcendent brands in the image of Abantu Abafana Noriki, in the image of Abantu from a very Kanye West motif. So the question is broad, but it's basically dedicated to all viewers and all artists who want to understand how they as individuals can put themselves out there and just find a way to actually live through their art and be recognized by the country as a whole. So I want to find out what your thoughts are on that. How do rappers win South Africa over?
Okay, kokuqala ndiyabulela uba umbizile lo muntu engizobiza nami kule question yakho, which is Ricky. May his soul rest in peace.
Yes,
so to answer your question, you have to understand that South Africa is not a hip hop market. It's a dance market.
Yeah,
but it's a dance country. Jive. Nangona kakho brand ovula indlela hot sticks mabuza yabuza ngazawe. So ngazawe noba ke zi lyrically based, but ziyajivisa beat at some degree yabo ziyajivisa. So nangona zezibig zona ziyajivisa. So we have to look at the dance market. Njema sithi ndiyabula bubize uRicky. If he started uba uyilandela career yakhe, before he actually blew up, he was a very really rapper.
Yeah,
he was rapping,
yeah.
But there was a switch in his content before 2014.
Okay.
About the switch in his content. Oh, boss sonke, boss nonke, dinala, bangineha, bang. As a way, are not raps. As a rappers raps. You can't say that yo Ricky post on the bars. But you can say Ricky post song, it's a nice song.
Right.
But Ricky tried to do his purpose. He wants to be big. Wants to be done, and he understood that South Africa, it's not a rappers market. It's a dance market. So he switched his content. He must relate to the market as South Africa. These people want to dance. So boss song all Sidlukotin are not heavy lyrically based. Or he can rap.
Yeah.
Like he can put out bars, can put out similes, metaphors, but you won't find that in his content after 2014. You'll find Sidlukotin, he dumbed it down. Not saying that he was doing something stupid, but he dumbed down his content. Who Casper says this? Bad hair. kla intro yakhe uthi kuba inspiration kaNasty C, the song Casper says something kuslick kuba Tilly called me Nasty C called me, in fact Tilly called me xa iqala yabo. Then he went on to say that ukuba ufike uNasty C and he saw that we can rap now.
Yeah.
Why would he say that? Bakuba we can rap now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Bebe senza ntoni kanti before.
Clearly.
Bebe ngadlali. But they knew that ukuba market yase wasn't ready for rap. Even though bebekhule berap bona bebaseleka se-States befuna uba se-States befuna ntoni. Ukhasipuna ngetrack asemo-States mo. Yabo. So they know that ukuba market yes ukhula ubaseleka ngolendo ku-J Cole mostly now yabo, Golden Way no lendo. Oba rap bona because the market yase-States is allowing for rap.
Right.
But market yalapha doesn't allow it, and no Casper no Ricky saw that. Bayitshintsha bayicontent yabo bayidama down benza melodic rap like dance stuff nonto ezinjalo ezifika ikwaito, which is by infuse nekwaito bathini azinto zithandwa sesijajisayo.
Okay.
Then ke ngoku when they saw Nasty C ukuba Nasty C is coming out rapping and abantu bamthanda, then they tried to switch up again bakuba baphinde balend ba rap, but then kafika piano kaphinda bayibuyisa back bakuba nina sanozrapa nina because kuthiwa uyoungster i-lyricist, vocalistic i-lyricist.
You know what I mean?
Yabo. But the lyrics are not on rap beats. But i-market yase-SA but is a-lyricist. So i-rap yalapha should focus on dance market.
Okay, so I love that you've kind of set like a precedence, your qala. And I want to clarify that. So are you saying the first principle in your mind for a rapper to make it is they need to be conscious of South Africa's dance culture and kind of accommodate their music to that market predominantly?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And I love the fact that you mention the culture of being a rapper's rapper, coming from the cypher, coming from a kind of more boom bap, lyric orientated kind of music. I want to ask a very important question. We grew up in a time where it was very, very difficult to kind of attend to different markets. South Africa has always had a very narrow music industry in general. So the fact that the music is dance orientated is a reflection of the culture, but it's also a reflection of the narrowness of the industry. Now we're in a different time where the internet has opened up a new world. It's opened up new markets. I want to ask the question, now that there is perhaps maybe a broader perspective and market that artists can attend to, is it still futile for rappers who prefer the style of rap that is more lyric orientated to kind of cater to their own? Do you think there are people out there, enough people out there, who don't want to dance like that, who want a backpacker, who want their version of a Joey Badass, who want their version of a Nas? Do you think South Africa can give room for that kind of hip-hop, or are all rappers, regardless of the styles they want to explore, forced to kind of narrow themselves into Ujayivisa Bantu?
Okay, the first thing that kuba, yes kuku YouTube if uses yabal, yes kuku Apple Music, yes kuku Spotify, yes kuku Deezer, yes kuku Tidal. But what is Risa doing? Risa is saying that kuba imarket yase yomculo shrink. They went from a single from 25,000 to gold, go to 10,000 to gold. So from the institutions that got the statistic is saying that the industry is shrink. Regardless of platforms we develop now, in TikTok because the platform is figure but the market, the real market is shrink industry say. So to say that kukho avenues zokuba abantu bakhona i-platforms kuba ba-access abantu umculo wabo balento bazokwazi ukwenza the rappers abazukenza mali because intoni i-market yase you have to consider it fully. You can't consider laa mntu uyi-one uyifunayo because once wena uthi ufuna i-version yakho ka-Joey Badass la mntu no-Apple Music la mntu wase-SA uzovela afaka uJoey Badass yabo wena ngokwena uzama emulate uJoey Badass. So ngoku you can't say that ukuba SA want their own version of J. Cole, want their own version of Lil Wayne. Would be ngoku si misguide i-artist, si misguided nathi ke market yethu yabo. So ngoku umuntu makabe nguye. I'm not saying don't do English raps,
right,
yabo. I'm not saying don't do English raps, but English raps zakho masibe se-SA.
Yeah.
Yabo mna ikhona into endiyikhalazelayo mna, out of all lama piano there's still not an English rapper rapping on lama piano. Bonke basabethi Vinek.
Right.
Yabo, there's no one betting English raps on lama piano, and there's no one doing that. I don't understand why, because piano liya exportwa ngoku mekuba kurechwa ilento English kuyo, so that,
you know what I mean,
accommodate
there's even Nigerian piano, you know.
Yabo into ezinjalo yabo naselento nokubana umntana wase England oyibethayo ngoku Globe featuring Drake.
Yeah, the one that caused a huge outburst on Twitter.
Sedlulwa nguye uyayibona ipiano but you can export it to the whole world, but
right,
a English rapper that's willing to go on English raps to make into yalapha essay ibe accommodating. Just saying that kula topic ukuba kuthiwa ipiano rappers.
Yeah, I feel you.
But answer your question is that ukuba imarket yethu iyashrinka, and ke ngumuntu ufuneka abe authentic, because ngoku awunokwazi ukhompyutha no J. Cole on a single day uthi ufuneka i-version ka J. Cole.
Utacha basically to what I want to really go into. So if we look at America, it is able to cater to a diverse array of different styles of hip-hop. You know, there are rappers who we know are for the clubs, there are rappers who we know are for the cypher, and because of just the size of America as a whole, rappers are eating. Touching on the issue of authenticity, it's a very important thing. Like headspacers will know, that's the one thing I always stress when it comes to artists. The fact that find your own unique, authentic story before you kind of compromise yourself based on a global market. Before you say, I want to be like a Kendrick Lamar, find out how you can be yourself. And I guess the question that I want to really ask better is there room for different kinds of hip-hop? Or are all rappers based on what you mentioned of dance culture being so predominant in Abemzansi? Are all MCs, regardless of maybe they're not the kind of MCs for jive, or maybe they're the kind of MC where you just want to put your headphones in, umameli lyrics. Let's take somebody, for instance, like a Landmark. Are MCs like that doomed?
The thing is, people, streaming age, people don't listen to albums, they listen to singles in a playlist. So I would say that there's room for everything for one artist. Not kukuba kufuneka ngoku mnabe boom bap rap. You can do boom bap, you can do conscious rap, you can do trap, you can do we fake album one, we put it to the world. Whoever likes whatever picks it up. But to say that okuba let's forget about the market as I say would be wrong, because you need that single to catapult you. But okay, ukusheshe akbeke olento. So ngaza we uCasper senzile una pakula album I Hope You Bought It, which is a rap song. La machita uCasper nolento no Ricky, they really sat down, from my understanding, by bona lewe by Ambanjan, because la machita anazo it's like as a fitayo to ilendo market as I say, but they still do what they want to do, which is rap banazo track is that. So if you can look at la machita enzenjani, especially from a catalog yabo le iphumile uzoyibona lento kuba they do focus SA market, bapusha le single lizobapusha, then never banze nje single le bayithanda lento bayithanda. That's why he even went to Amapiano, Casper, so that he can catapult his brand to the world, to the market. But still going to go Any Minute Now, which is a rap album, about straight after Sweet and Short. So he's trying to find balance. Glenda Tandai, which is a rapper, but to make it in the music industry as a SA. So you can't say we musician your business, because the minute you record a track ufaka phaka mic, there's a copyright law involved. Copyright law ifuna lawyer. Yabo, the minute ufuna lawyer, you are putting expenses and so business ngo record nje uthi hey ki mic. Yabo, say business already. So we have to think as a businessman, like what Jay-Z said, I'm not a business, I'm a businessman. Yeah, but so and in business you think of all avenues so you expand the empire and you won't expand the empire doing what you love. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do so you can do what you love.
I feel like that's a quotable right there. You won't.
The quote Kalenoga Denzel Washington. It's exactly Kuba. Do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do.
Right. So that's a little bit chilly to accept for some, because I know we have a large fan base of hip hop heads who are staunch boom bap purists. So what Prince Masuku is saying right now to the boom bap purist is that it's not gonna work for them if they can't stretch themselves and do what they have to do, which is to kind of go out of their comfort zone musically to accommodate to a bigger market. And I feel like you're touching on a lot of our 5 principles. You touched on authenticity, and I feel like now you're touching on one of our principles, which is emotional depth. The fact that all great artists are able to stretch themselves and make songs that apply to different facets of a person's life. And looking at all of the rappers you mentioned, the Caspers, the AKAs, the Ricky Ricks, a huge testament of their greatness, Koom, is the fact that, listen, these guys do have rappers for the heads, quote unquote. These guys have tracks for the ladies. These guys have wedding songs, you know. So these are people who, as you said, sit down, analyze the culture of South Africa and say, listen, people like attaching songs to memories. And if I'm going to be a artist for the times, I have to create songs that are going to live on through people's memories. So if people can get married to my song, if people can go to their daughter's graduation and celebrate, if people can celebrate their birthday parties, till this day, for instance, 50 Cent in the Club is now a birthday song, just because of that line, to go shout it, it's your birthday. There was a video of Usher singing it online, so I feel like that teaches us something. That teaches us the way we teta exactly of coming out of your musical comfort zone and learning how to accommodate the human experience as a whole, the club, the weddings, it's all there. That's the blueprint. So what would you add as kind of another extension of that? Is there anything more? We went into authenticity, we went into the importance of emotional depth. What other extra special essence do you think rappers need to know? Let's go there.
That Scossa states. The reason why kufuneka uphuma out of your comfort zone is because asikho sestate. Namathi lando buyithetha kuba there's different genres hip hop within hip hop abazenza futhi ke Derek wenza pain rap and ustickile ke pain rap yabo, but awukwazi uyenza lonto apha essay ustick to one specific thing yabo, especially as a rapper. Maybe you can do it as an afro artist yabo, uhlala ke afro bethi afro yodwa because in a market well developed, but in rap essay it's not something that's accommodated. Siya accept ukuba sibaseleka si states, not because silento si culture yethu. So lando I rappers zibone lando senzeke states icinga izokwenzeka apha essay mina ngizorapper njengoJoey Badass. It's not gonna happen.
You're spitting some fire here. And I want to see what the comment section is going to look like.
I wanted to touch it in the so what you're saying that because looking at the history of rappers that stuck to whatever they liked, you find Ndoba Baz exported like your UK Black Rock is more famous in Europe.
Right.
So if you staunch you have to look at the other markets than in South Africa.
But kunzima for I'm sorry to say this, but kunzima for nast.
Thank you. This is organic. This went where I wanted to go. I wanted it to go there.
Def Jam is signed to Mabala Noise, Universal, Def Jam Africa, Def Jam. 4 record labels still kunzima Faga States.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because there's a million Nasty C's estates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody said it.
Someone said it.
I've always advocated for the fact that an artist that grooms themselves for the global world without really really roots as the authentically rooted in
Ubani
something
ne-BTS?
who commit suicide.
Banana BTS.
Usjav.
No banon.
Exactly.
Shoma
Jozi.
Yeah.
Who was charting on the billboards?
Prince Masuku spitting facts.
Hugh Masuku never made music for estates.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jaffa never made music for estates. Shoma Jozi never made music for estates. But John Cena,
Black Mambazo has been getting Grammys.
But they never made music for estates.
You get
Uh-huh.
it. You get it.
Because uthandwa apha. They never though advocate abantu balapha.
So
they don't need you to tell them yourself that the state and in the way enhlekisa ngayo umarketer kanje uNasty C kuthiwa you wouldn't believe he's from South Africa.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And one thing I noticed about Nasty C is his projects from Price City to
Strings and Blings,
Bad Hair. They were all titles and concepts which had nothing to do and weren't rooted in the context of his country. All of a sudden, when he's in America, now he's a Zulu man with some power.
And who he featured? Who's Zulu there besides him?
You understand? Like, I feel like they sat in a boardroom somewhere, and because he drowned so much in the American noise and he's now a small fish, they had to distinguish him somehow. But he had already committed artistic suicide.
And he took the executive producer, says States, who knows nothing about Orlando, no idea about Orlando. He's South Africa. Yeah, he's never
That's why no idea.
No deep in-depth knowledge of the culture. So I must say it plainly, rappers, we're talking about how to win SA, how not to win the world is by compromising on your authenticity. It doesn't work. This Nasty C myth, because it is a myth. For the longest time, we were sold this idea that he's South Africa's rap savior because finally we have an exportable artist. And I never bought it from the get-go because, like you said, the history of artists that have transcended and managed to reach out to a global scene have all been authentically South African. And so I feel there is no measure of excellence in modeling yourself after the world when you truly do not know where you come from. And it was evident even in his identity. The moment Sway asked him if he's ever experienced racism and he said no. For me, I felt like here's a young man
who doesn't want to be bad
and who truly doesn't even understand. Maybe he feels racism is being called a gaffer to your face, and he doesn't understand the extension of the fact that racism is being black and being limited. You've highlighted authenticity. You've highlighted emotional depth and catering to the South African market. You've highlighted the value of artists realizing that the only way they can truly win over their country and thus the world is by being true to who they are and where they come from. And I feel like we're approaching a close to this. And looking at the rappers that have passed and the rappers that are still yet to come, do you think the current momentum that Ipiano is in, you mentioned Casper jumping into the piano wave, is that an artist losing their integrity, or is it something artists need to understand, that evolving with trend, evolving with the times and style, a lot of artists look at that as quote-unquote not being true to self? I want to know your perspective on that. Do you think it is important in longevity as an artist to kind of maybe jump on every wave that happens to be the one, or is there another way to extend your own career?
For me, to be honest, I don't piano. I don't listen to it. I don't appreciate it because I like hip hop. Right. I like the raps, the raps, and I do appreciate English raps. So when you've got people like, let's say, I don't see example MT doing piano because I feel like he's more okay hip hop okay trap yabo.
Yeah, very much so.
For me that is subjective yabo. But ke ngoku iphinde yenziwe ehlobo yenziwa ngu-KO ngalo yabo ukuba ibe khona la lock drum because KO yena is doing it nicely uyayifaka la lock drum so that ukuba umuntu ayavuba kuba yeah akayilibali wave enzekayo but he's not sacrificing his art yabo. So if he feels like he's not sacrificing his art and he's still riding the wave, I feel like that there is a balance. But let me tell you integrity. That is very personal thing because some artists would say, like Nasty said, I'm so the piano.
Right.
Yeah, so the piano. So I don't know why he'll never do another variation and ends on KO. So it's a nuance it's very subjective. The artist they want, but integrity artists. If you feel like you would never do piano, don't do it. But don't make music like I states be authentic. When umculo oqonba nawe or in future times le ngoma ndiyaphinda ndiyimamele indixelela ngala xesha bendiyirekhoda ngayo iba isandixela ngalanto ibisenzeka yabo isandikhumbuza la xesha lale memories obuyithethe nontoni as long uzokwenza umculo ozocaptureisha the moment and aphinda futhi atele story sakho tell ne story se surrounding sakho alento explain it to anyone listening ukuba kwenzeka ntoni then that would be fine, especially hip hop. I'm saying Afro pop because they love songs. But instead of hip hop, so headspace kind of.
Yeah.
You need to get out of this hip hop thing. You need to get out of this hip hop thing. They're like, no, hip hop is the plug. Because yet,
no doubt.
Okay, let me think, brother.
But I think thinking broader is very important because the greatest artists that have also pulled from music in general to enrich hip hop, you know.
Yeah.
So
I like jazz, hip hop.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I like jazz. I figure new wave. He's doing it nicely.
Right.
And he's not sacrificing his art.
Okay. So in a nutshell, you're saying an artist doesn't have to jump with the wave, but they have to consider how to translate the best version of themselves in the context of the wave.
Yeah.
They don't have. So you take Kata Osama by Zex Bandwin. One of the reasons why I admire that song is because it stuck out like a sore thumb in an era where everything is piano and then all of a sudden you hear this almost Afro electro thing coming up, and for me it taught me that no man, the myth that trend dominates and the musical frequencies to the point where nothing else can be accommodated, it can suffocate artists, and there's always room to still make people enjoy themselves without always jumping into a wave that might not necessarily be natural to you.
So uphina ndikhumbuza la point engathi ndiyayithetha ingasephinde ndiarticulate. You have to tell the times.
Yep.
Xa ilixesha lepiano awunokwazi ukuthi ngoxa simamele track ka Can't Imagine kanasisi asiva iphumeni ngo-2022 akuxela no-2022 youngstana no-focalistic nontoni asiva next ngo-2035 kuba bekusenzeka ntoni ngelixesha yabo.
Right.
So ngoku you have to translate with the waves of some point yabo kuba there must be articulation of the times, because that's what hip hop is, street journalist.
Yeah.
You're a street journalist, so you're talking about what's happening in the times, and KO is a perfect street journalist for me.
No doubt. This has been an educational conversation. I hope rappers, artists alike, fans alike, supporters are all tuned in, and please, this challenge in the comment section, man. This is a conversation. This is not an exclusive dialogue between two people. See, Ngogola Lendo pair square issue that everybody is a part of. I want to segue just for a brief moment before we close it off. One of the moves that you did recently, which kind of stuck out for me, and I feel which was a victory for South African hip hop, is you were key in getting a lot of up and coming, particularly authentic trap young rappers playlisted on Umhlobo Wenene. And I feel like a lot of people didn't catch that. It didn't trend as much as it should have. But I want you to kind of speak on that, what that meant for you, how it all came about, and maybe as a closing off, where you feel as a result the future of radio is for artists.
Okay. It started at an interview radio station at Kitngis. They asked me the question, why is Xhosa trap? They didn't say Xhosa trap, but they said new wave. Why is it not booming? Then I talk about it's because the platforms it does accept is or not, because they think that hip hop you get to so I don't generate especially when we talk about this Xhosa. So ndabe ndalena ndayichallenge lona ndayibeka la hlobo ndibeka ngalo uba kuba ehlobo ndiphendula ngalo uba kuba no mabalento is platform sethu 2FM nomhlobo wenene. Then I took that clip ndaba sendela and I posted on Instagram wayibona bra looks then emva koko buyela kum then wanguye into ayithetha eradioweni uba kuba mandisende umculo to ubhuti Gwiba uba kuba mandimsendele umculo emhlobo then emva ndamsendela like amajita angandisibhana nawo umculo nabo ndabacela uba mandisendele omnye umculo ndabasendela then emva koko baqala udlala emva koko bebengaqali yabo but on that day ndayiva. And game na ingasibe into consistent because like I say on the Slick on Life interview kuba it should be a culture, because ekugqibeleni you can't have umculo ophumayo on the internet or esiXhosa kodwa umhlobo wenene akayazi. It's not about ukuba bayamdlala kanye abamdlali. I feel like ingathi abayazi because yes ndiyasubmit umculo wamajita ndiyathini, but I don't think they know the impact of lo mculo kwabantwana amenzayo, because ingathi ngosiphila ke spaza era where kube besirely ke Bluetooth nentoni for umculo asherishe, but ngoku internet there's access to to the information. Umuntu netangene ku YouTube abona za views should translate kuba abantwana bazimamele ezwe. But I feel like bona bangeni kwa ku YouTube yochekisha yabo. So I feel like ukuba umhlobo no 2FM should sustain lento sesiqalile, because yenzekela nini ngo Feb and if they can sustain it, it will change the lives of abantwana, because as artists, because now abantu mamameli radio, because lo mculo okokuqala andifake umculo phaa lento orhabaxa kanye utheni I screen the music yabo uba kuba lo mculo ongena apha ngake umculo fitting for i-radio ne-message yawo for i-radio, because i-message ka-Flash Kumkani no-Soul T mostly yabo bona bobabili balento i-message yabo emculweni is authentic and it's motivational and it's inspirational yabo for laa nto ingadlali eradioweni. It's a detriment to, it's an injustice to bona, to society na to umhlobo, because at the times again sizophinde sibalise uba kuba ngo-2022 kwakuzenzeka ntoni singayibalisi laa nto kuba yo umhlobo edlala lento ngokubona as a station bayashiyeka to the trend yabo. And that's because I do send them as a staff or putloyi, so like the general manager is when nale hlambu ngizomsendele yabo so ingase bona balento bayithathe serious lento ingabe ngathi ngabantwana abadlalelayo, because ekugqibeleni zonke izinto ziqala ngabantwana.
So in other words, you're saying i-radio is out of touch with what's happening
because they don't have people on the ground.
Okay.
What I said kubuzela kuba example kusileka la bita example iqom kuthi iqom lapha eDurban to produce Eastern Cape most sithi OGs like sithi yeah business naso sifumana Eastern Cape ka DJ bahlala emdansana emkhukhweni
exactly
ukuthi babethi beat then emva ifika eDurban ifika kubantu bana seDurban afika abethi beat andithi mosiko apho music akuthiwa nga produced by yabo ifake ntoni banibani xa be-twins fake kuleno ku Spotify akho credits ephandle zilistwayo eziheavy zalapha njengase-States ba-composer
right.
So by the time ifika pha umjito usahlele emkhukhweni nabo bamnikile lo 5,000 yakhe lo 2,000, that's not enough for i-recognition la xa be-twins izoyifumana ngale track.
Exactly.
Yabo.
So the future of radio.
Future of radio, so better on Spotify. But I'm trying Spotify hasn't invested anything. They just opened up.
Exactly.
Access umculo. But the minute Spotify takes the capital, invests in Africa, it's late.
Oof. I feel like that's a critical point to end it off. It's been an amazing conversation. Talk to us, Prince Masuku. Appreciate the dialogue. Definitely one of the most insightful conversations I've had in a long. Thank you for blessing us on the Headspace. One love and all the best to your movement and your growth. We need you and people like you for the culture to grow. Not everybody can be a rapper. We need people who love the art form enough to do and to help it in other capacities. So, any last words?
I need follow me on Instagram _Prince_Masuku_.
That's what it is.